So I have this one ridiculously simple mindset hack that has been helping me stop myself from overeating. I have been saying this simple phrase to myself, and 9 out of 10 times it has stopped me from veering off of my routine. I started this only a few weeks ago when I was prepping for my trip to Vegas. Literally, whenever I was tempted to stray from what I normally eat, I would stop, ask myself, what would a supermodel do? But more specifically, I said to myself this exact phrase: no, I have supermodel discipline. For some reason, this completely changed the way I looked at temptation. And instead of me veering from my plan and then being disappointed with myself later, the temptation drifted away. I was more focused than ever, and I stuck to my plan. So I have been filming these supermodel videos for a while, and I enjoy making them just as some of you enjoy watching them. I love the supermodels, always have. I love learning about them and their routines because, like many of you, I am also interested in how they look the way they do, how they got to where they are, and what is their mindset when it comes to staying fit and looking incredible year long. Now, yes, supermodels are superhuman in many ways. We have talked in length on my channel about naturally thin people and how I believe that many of them are wired differently when it comes to temptation around food. So while yes, I do believe that for naturally slim people, it is easier for them to maintain your weight, but it doesn't mean that even supermodels are not immune to temptation. It doesn't mean that supermodels don't work really hard to be on top of their game. They are supermodels. They must look and be their best year round. But to maintain a healthy, fit physique year round, that requires discipline. That requires supermodel discipline, which is how I really got to thinking to myself, okay, what would a supermodel do in certain situations? Because we know that temptation is around us all the time. I think one of the worst cycles or habits of behavior that many people share, have this in common, is we try to be disciplined, we try to stay on track. Temptation inevitably weaves its way into our lives. We may give into that temptation. Then as soon as we do, it turns into this, well, screw it kind of mindset. And then we just completely veer off the track, only to wake up a few days later and realize I lost 3 days of progress. I'm exactly where I was. Now I have to start all over again. What I have found with thinking patterns like this is we need a pattern interrupt. We need to start shifting our thinking from doing what we always do, because our actions are driven by our thoughts. We can try to change our actions, and that works. It can with pure discipline alone. But if we do not change our inner monologue, if we do not change our thoughts, eventually we will continue making the same actions. That's where the simple question of what would a supermodel do comes into play. Pattern interrupts act as exactly that. It's a pattern interrupt. At least for me, I remember I wrote about this in my book, actually. I called it the no game. And basically, this is just affirmations for when you are tempted to veer off your plan. You simply state something inside your head. For me, back then, it was just no. I tried to see how many times I could say no to things that did not bring me closer to my goals. And by doing that, saying that forceful no, either to myself or out loud, it gave me back my power. It made me realize, oh, I am not a victim to my own thought patterns. I am not addicted to my own habits. I'm not addicted to that subconscious programming that tells me to do things that logically I know are not good for me or don't align with my current goals. So for me, lately, because I have been doing these supermodel videos and because I just love the whole aesthetic, I think we all do. We all know I'm talking about Candace Swanepoel, Adriana Lima. We love it, right? Because I've been doing these videos lately, I literally think to myself, okay, what would they do in my situation if I were a supermodel? If I had to be on the Victoria's Secret runway in like a week, what decisions would I make? And then I tell myself when that temptation comes to me, no, I have supermodel discipline because I am a supermodel. Because if I were a supermodel, then I know that the decisions I make now determine my livelihood. And when you think about it like that, that raises the stakes. And so, at least for me, I believe the important part of saying this affirmation to yourself or this supermodel mindset hack is not just saying the words, no, I have supermodel discipline, but actually putting yourself in the shoes of that supermodel ideal version of yourself. It's imagining that you are already her. Imagine what she would do in that situation. And then you make your decisions decisions as if you were already hurt. You make your decisions from that identity. So for me, this has been working, especially since I had a goal. My goal was just to do better before Vegas trip. And I realized that by having that goal, right, my own personal goal, and then by reminding myself or telling myself that I had supermodel discipline, that I can do this, that I am stronger than this. When I tell you that literally the temptation just totally lost its importance to me. Like you could have put almost anything in front of me. And I was just kind of blasé about it because I realized like there is more at stake here. Like, yeah, that looks good, that right there in front of me. But because I have something to work towards, because I know who I am, because I already decided that I have supermodel discipline, that's just whatever to me. It has no control over me. And so for me, that felt almost liberating. I mean, it made me feel good. It made me feel like, wow, like in that moment, for just a split second, I felt like I'm Miss Adriana Lima. I'm Candace Swanepoel. I just kind of had fun with it. And why I think that this particular affirmation was really powerful, for me at least, is because it was making a decision. So instead of arguing with yourself for 30 minutes over whether you will or won't have the temptation, whether, you'll just take one bite, maybe whether you'll just have a little bit, maybe whether you'll just try to moderate, or maybe whether you'll just throw it all away altogether, there's no decision making. The decision's made. I just said, no, I have supermodel discipline. Moved on with my day, left it there on the counter, let someone else take care of it. Not my problem anymore. And here's the thing, the more and more you practice this, the easier and easier it becomes. The easier and easier it becomes to make choices that align with your goals. And then each time that you are successful in refraining from your temptation, it just reinforces the fact that, oh, you actually do have discipline. You actually can do this. You actually are in control over your destiny. You actually are in control over your thoughts, over your actions. The more you say to yourself, I have supermodel discipline, the more it becomes part of your subconscious programming. The more it becomes a part of your new habits, your new thought patterns. The key is that you have to be consistent with it. You have to make a conscious effort to make it part of your thought patterns. By changing your thoughts, you can change your behaviors. And by changing your behaviors, you can essentially become whoever you want to be. There was a study called the MAID study. So in this study, there were some researchers. They took a bunch of maids and they looked at their daily routines. They looked at how much physical activity that these women were getting on a day-to-day basis. Because maids, cleaners, they are on their feet sometimes 8 to 12 hours a day. They are constantly moving. They are vacuuming. They are wiping down surfaces. It's a very physical job. When they looked at this group of maids, though, they saw that, hey, for people who are so physically active, it's kind of strange that they are not very well in shape. And most of them were not. Most of them were middle-aged women who were overweight. Maybe some were even obese. Many of them had high blood pressure or other issues. So the researchers wanted to do an experiment. Basically, what they did is they took this group of women and they just sat down and explained to them, hey, did you know that every day when you go to work, you are actually burning a ton of energy units, so much that it would be easy for you to lose weight. They then followed up with these women over a period of, I want to say it was like 2 weeks, maybe a month. They told the women, do not change your diets, don't change anything about your other habits. And we want to see where you are in, I think it was 2 weeks or a month. I can't remember exactly. Long story short, at the end of the study, the women came back. I want to say they all lost on average, like up to 10 to 15 pounds. And many of them also saw a reduction in their blood pressure. So their vitals were better. And like I said, supposedly these maids changed nothing about their diets. They changed nothing about their routines, but it was just after the researchers told them, hey, you actually are a really physically fit person. They just now believed that what they were doing was exercise instead of just their daily routine. Now, of course, there could be several explanations for why this happened. Is it just because of some magical thinking where now they believed that they were fit and healthy and so their cells just totally changed and they just lost weight and became magically healthier? Possibly. The other explanation could be that even though they said they didn't change anything about their diet or their routine, maybe they could have in very subtle ways that actually led to their weight loss. So maybe because they were told by these researchers that, hey, you're very active. You're a fit, healthy person, because they now believed that, hey, I'm a fit, healthy person, they subconsciously started making healthier choices. Maybe that looked like eating a healthier breakfast. Maybe that looked like scaling back on their portion sizes a little bit. Or maybe it even looked like putting a little more pep in their step when they were cleaning. Maybe now that they thought of their cleaning routine as a workout, they actually made it a workout. But regardless of whether it was magical thinking or if it was just the belief that now they are fit and healthy that caused them to change their actions, the results are still the same. The evidence that affirmations work, or the evidence that what you believe you are is what you are, is true. So simply because these maids were now told that they are fit, healthy people, they became fit, healthy people. It was their beliefs that influenced their actions, which actually made them fit, healthy people. Which is why when we talk about supermodel affirmations, if we believe that we have supermodel discipline, if we believe that we can practice supermodel habits, then eventually we will have supermodel discipline. Eventually we will have supermodel habits, which is why I love doing these supermodel videos, because I just find them so inspiring and motivating for myself. But of course, I want to be clear that when I talk about being a supermodel and I am a supermodel affirmations, I am not actually saying that we are going to become supermodels, that we need to be, that we need to look exactly like them, or that we have to be perfect like them. Because not even supermodels themselves are perfect. They are human themselves. They have their weak moments. They have their days when they don't feel so great. They have their days when maybe even they need to practice their own supermodel affirmations. I use supermodels more as a motivational tool or as the ideal disciplined version of ourselves. So when I think supermodel, when I say I want to be a supermodel or I do these supermodel affirmations, I just think of my ideal version of myself, someone who has it together, someone who is very disciplined, someone who gets what she wants, someone who looks good, takes care of herself and her body. I have no desire to walk on a runway. I have no desire to be considered a supermodel. For me, it's just a motivational tool to become my best self. So that is what my Supermodel Discipline series is all about. And I also want to be clear that supermodel discipline doesn't mean never enjoying our favorite foods. It doesn't mean being perfect all the time. When I talk about supermodel discipline, it's just how can we incorporate some of their behaviors and some of their disciplines, some of their habits into our own lives so that we can become the best versions of ourselves. Supermodel discipline means being able to make an intentional decision rather than being controlled by our impulses. Because as we know, our choices eventually determine who we become, it determines the course of our lives. It's not one choice that determines the rest of our lives, but repeated choices, repeated decisions. So no, it's not about being perfect, but it is about trying to build better habits and better discipline that will allow us to reach our goals. We want to be people who can enjoy things when we want to, but also say no to things when it doesn't align with our current goals. So the next time you are faced with temptation on your fitness journey, the next time external factors try to get you to abandon your goals, abandon your promises to yourself, physically stop, ask yourself, what would a supermodel do? And then quietly or loudly declare no. Say no. No to whatever is trying to make you veer from your goals. I have supermodel discipline. I will not break this promise to myself. Make the decision and then just move on with your day. And if you want to actually put this practice into action, then you should join the Supermodel Discipline Club. The Supermodel Discipline Club is my Patreon group where we put everything that I talk about on this channel, we put it into action. We actually do it. So instead of just consuming the content, we are now doing it for ourselves. In the Supermodel Discipline Club, you will have access to all of my Patreon features, including exclusive videos, monthly challenges where we as a group challenge ourselves with various fitness challenges that test and build up our discipline and help us actually act on our goals instead of just watching videos about doing it or instead of just thinking about it. And what's great about joining the Supermodel Discipline Club is that we're doing it all as a group. So when we do these challenges, we hold each other accountable. I know for me, especially because I am the creator of the program, it has kept me so accountable because once you sign up for the challenge, once you say you're going to do it and you tell the whole group, we all share our stats for whatever challenge we're doing. We hold each other accountable and it creates a little bit of good social social pressure to stick to the challenges. It's just more motivating and it's been really fun. A lot of us have just been really amazed at all the incredible things we're doing and how consistent we've all been able to be. We are also doing live monthly Q&A coaching sessions specifically for Supermodel Discipline Club members. So if you ever want to get on there, have a question for me, or need some help or motivation, that's the place to do it. And of course, just by joining the Patreon in general, you will have more access to me via direct message or group chat. So it's just a great place for those of us who are really serious about committing to our goals and getting to where we want to be. Because I know for me, it's a lifelong journey and it's fun. I enjoy it and I love doing it alongside you guys. Anyhow, guys, that's what I got for you today. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video, if you want more Supermodel Discipline content. Thank you for watching and I will see you guys next time.